Hi, everyone. Jane Applegath here, founder of the Epic Vision Zone, where we say it's your life, it's your story, make it epic. Each show, we offer you an inspiring person or message to bring you closer to your big dream so that you can live your epic life now. Thank you for being here. You can listen to the audio version on your favorite app or watch it on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Hans Kaufman wrote, "Art is the expression of the artist's overflowing soul." Karolina Adams is an artist who illustrates life as it plays through in her head. With a B.F.A. for interior architecture from Columbia College, she entered the field only to discover that mundane space planning and office environment were too rigid for her free spirit. In 2012, Carolina found her sketchbook from college, submitted drawings to a gallery, and got accepted. Two other galleries followed suit. Carolina calls herself an introspective artist, meaning she purges her emotions with inks and graphite onto paper. Throughout her artwork, which includes acrylic paintings, two books, and reflection cards, there is a striped socks character used to depict her feelings, emotions, and stories. Her art talks about love and the happy moments that come with it, and life's struggles and triumphs. Her work visually expresses it to be human, depicting emotions in a raw and relatable way that resonates. She says when people view her work, they aren't studying the brushstrokes and the play of light on the subject. They are studying their own struggles, their own blessings, and their own heart. Carolina sketches, draws, and or paints every day. Creativity, she says, recharges her and fuels her spirit. She calls her work quirky with a touch of sophistication, which reflects her playful and at times scrambled character on the surface with an intense and serious core. Carolina has been a permanent gallery artist in Scottsdale and Tubac, Arizona for the past 3 years, and just recently became part of the Witt Gallery in Massachusetts. In addition, she has exhibited her work at Fountain Hills and Gilbert, Arizona, and Chicago, Illinois. Welcome, Carolina. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for the great introduction. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm so excited to get started. I have to say that I know Carolina personally and professionally, and she is an absolute gem. Her work definitely resonates with everyone. There's always some story that is depicted in some of her, all of her colors and her characters, and definitely the little sayings that she puts on her work. So, give us an idea, Carolina. What inspired the work that you do today?
So I've been drawing since I was a kid, and I feel like that's every artist's story. But mine, it began with documenting um, the world around me, and it quickly turned, excuse me, it quickly turned inwards. So it became an introspective work, and where I depicted my feelings and my emotions. And I created these. My mom used to show me how to create these books. So I would sew the pages together at the spine and create these books, and I would fill them full of these stories. I would go to school and didn't have many friends, and so it was, and I think that's why my I looked inside myself, because I didn't have much of a life outside, with friends and stuff. So, but back then, so I would fill those books up quickly. And back then I realized that it helped me purge my emotions, and it helped me make sense of my feelings, of, what I was feeling and stuff. And so, that continued throughout my life, that style, that purging. And even when I had to put art on the shelf for a while, when I was working in architecture, I would still, like, if I was experiencing a heavier emotion, I would grab a napkin and just sketch it out just to get it out of myself, or, copy paper. And so, yeah, looking back, I think as a kid, maybe I didn't realize what was happening, but I feel like it was those sketchings, that process was teaching me to, how to connect to my emotions, how to purge them and express via art. And it also groomed me for what I do now, and it goes back so long ago. And so yeah, that's how I that's how
Interesting.
I got there.
Yeah. It's funny that there's different methods that people use, and in your expression is through art. Others might be through writing. A lot of people journal, but this is your expression of journaling, which is
Mm-hmm.
really beautiful. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, it's a way of understanding your feelings, but also getting them out. And
Yes.
that's such a gift, because a lot of us don't even know how to do that regardless of
Right.
having that skill or that creativity. And to be able to express it through your artwork, which, of course, that's, I think, one of the reasons it resonates with so many people. Because, like you say,
Mm-hmm.
they see something and they see themselves in the art. That's exactly
Yes.
what it is. Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
true.
I
Well,
I feel
go ahead.
I feel very fortunate that somehow as a kid stumbled. So, like I said, I mentioned that growing up, I didn't have many friends. I had a hard time connecting to kids and they to me. And so, um, I was kind of pushed into my own little world and not realizing what life was actually doing. It was just grooming me, for today. So looking
Right.
back, I was like, oh, I don't have any friends, blah, blah. And now I'm like, you know, it had a purpose.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely. That's a great way to look at it. When we reflect, it's interesting how
Mm-hmm.
we see different things come together because often we think it was a bad thing, but as you say, in this case, it had a purpose. And the
Mm-hmm.
it seems like the universe was grooming you for what was to come,
Yes,
which is the
yes.
work that you do
Because
today.
without that, it is difficult,
Hmm.
to get inside and feel your emotions and be able to express them. So I needed all this time to you know um, to
To purge it, to bring it out.
yeah, yeah,
To cultivate it,
to
to
practice.
cultivate it.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Cultivate and
Absolutely.
practice.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that being said, is there a subject that you gravitate towards? And if so, what would that be and why? Is there one particular subject that you feel that you gravitate towards, or is it really across the board?
So in my work, I talk about the happy experiences of life, and I also illustrate my struggles, limitations, my triumphs, and um, I love psychology and how the human brain operates and how our emotions and thoughts affect us. And I also love change. I'm always trying to push myself out of my comfort zone, because I know that makes me grow, and I love that. And so I have a huge collection of that self, um, improvement work. And it's probably my favorite work to create just because of my obsession with, growth. But I feel like the darker, um, subject matters, such as depression, anxiety, maybe feeling lonely, is that's where the important work lies. It's I feel like it's beyond me just expressing myself. There is a bigger purpose in it. I think because I'm being open about sharing my darkness and my struggles with, publicly. Um, I feel and even see that people, um, it gives people permission. I don't like the word permission, but I don't know what else to use, but like it gives people permission to do the same, to look into their darkness and let it surface and bring it out. And that's how we heal. We open up, acknowledging that darkness is the key to it's the beginning of the healing process. You have to acknowledge it, shine some light on it, and so you heal from there.
Right. Absolutely. So I would say that your paintings and your work are like almost like healing,
Mm-hmm.
if you take that. And it's very interesting because I know that in one instance we were at a show, you and I, and there was a
Mm-hmm.
psychologist who actually bought one of your larger prints or paintings,
Mm-hmm.
actually original, and she said because she was going to hang it in her office
Mm-hmm.
for her patients. And I just
Mm-hmm.
thought, wow, that just it spoke to her, and you spoke to her through that work. So it
Mm-hmm.
does really resonate with individuals. And
Yes. So
go ahead.
I I would say about 75% of my clientele is in the mental health field because I
Mm.
do talk about emotions and how to recognize them, how to work with them, and how to see them and release them.
And now I wanted to ask you about the character that you use in your paintings. The character is called Socks. So give us some insight into where Socks came from, and why it plays such a large role in your work. Because I just love socks.
Thank you. Actually, Socks is just my nickname for the character. I just lovingly call it Socks because people constantly ask me, or when I'm even describing, it's easier than to say the character in my book. So I call it Socks, but it really has no name and really no gender. It's an androgynous figure. I Many people see it as a female because I think it's because I'm a female living, my life from that perspective. And so it's probably um, that perspective it influences the character's physical appearance. But I feel like the messages speak to everyone equally, regardless of gender. Um, we all experience the same emotions. It may just be in different scenarios or situations. So when I'm purging my story, the character is me. It's my stories, my thoughts, my emotions. But you, as the viewer, when you connect to a piece, that character becomes you. It's your stories, your feelings, your emotions.
Mm. Yes, I could definitely see that. And is that the reason that your characters don't have facial expressions then? Because you want your individuals to interpret it for themselves?
Partially, yes, but my character doesn't have facial expressions um, because, for the same reason that my artwork is minimal in detail.
Mm,
Details distract from, the complex emotions that I'm trying to simplify, um,
mm,
and simplify and understand. Um, Also, when you look at my work, you see these lines on a white background, and it allows the viewer um, the space to connect with the piece, to understand what it is, and feel it in their heart. Feel it where their
mm.
blockages are, so they can. Once you feel it, it surfaces. It's almost like an instinctual thing. When you finally, like when you acknowledge that block, it surfaces.
Right.
So that's
Yes.
yeah, that's why I do it in a very minimal context.
Absolutely. It creates the space for us to
Hmm.
interpret it for ourselves, because even
Hmm.
in the process of creativity, we need to have space. I mean, I always say that
Yeah.
we cannot create from a place of static, because that doesn't lend ourselves to open up. to be able to bring in what it is that we're looking for to create. So I could definitely, now that you've expressed that, I can understand why that is, and I love that. So
Mm.
give us a little insight into the creative process. Tell us about your creative work and how you approach it and the concepts to completion.
That's a little difficult to explain because I sometimes don't even understand it myself. So when I'm going through something, um, I I purge it out. I don't want to hang on to it because when an emotion enters and you push it down or don't pay attention to it, or sometimes like the heavier emotions, you don't want to sit with them. You know, I've learned to sit with them because I know the importance of the flow. I want it to go through me and not into me. And so I'll purge it out. And when it comes in, when that emotion comes in, and I'm sure you feel it, I mean, everybody does, it's a little chaotic. It's like there's so much, it's complicated, it's complex. And so it's complex in my head. However, intuitively, when it comes out, and I don't mean it for it to be that way, but when it comes out, it's very simple, like we just said. It's very simple. And I think it's because that's how my brain understands. So after I purge it, I analyze, what is it teaching me? How is it making me grow? Why is it here? But if
Mm,
it was more complex, if it had features, if it had stuff in the background, I think it would be too complicated for my brain to understand those feelings and those emotions. Did I answer your
right.
question?
Yes, yes, it's so insightful. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a wonderful talent to be able to do that. To have that feeling, and then to be able to, have it come through you by expressing it on paper, or through your
Yeah.
drawings. What a gift! Because for a
And you
lot of
can
us, we go ahead.
and you can sorry and you can do it with anything. My and Sax's message to the world is um, acceptance and self-love. Another thing which I was going to say and then I forgot to say, but when we were talking about psychologists, the psychology or the mental health field professionals, when they come in, there was one that actually said that art heals quicker than talking things
Mm,
through with a psychologist, because our brain somehow reads not only the visual aspect of it but the concept behind it and the healing behind it. So like when you look at a piece of art, if it um, if it touches you, it works on multiple levels, whereas if you go in to work through that trauma or whatever it is with your psychologist, it'll take you a longer time and it won't be as effective, which I thought it was. And I can't even verbalize and express how she was saying it, but it made so much sense to me. And I'm like, oh my God, we don't even know half the or how our brains and how our energy and our humanity really works. We're just at the tip of like understanding a lot of things.
yes, absolutely. Yes, we do see in pictures before we understand, either verbally or reading. There's no question that
Yes.
our brain
Mhm.
um, interprets pictures faster, and
Yes.
therefore it makes a connection. Absolutely. So how
Yes.
powerful is that? Yeah, that's
Mhm.
wonderful. So how do you get into the create? What motivates you to create? Is it always when you just feel something, or it's you have an incredible collection of pieces, and do you ever have to sit down and say, now come on, Carolina, I have to do some work? Or is it always just, oh, I've got this feeling, I've got to put it on paper, I've got so many in my head or in my body? What is it that motivates you to create? I know you said it's part of your soul, but is there something
Mhm.
more?
So I actually pulled out of, I was in three galleries at the same time. And I was very blessed and I sold very well. And so they kept asking me to send them more and more. I needed to feed three galleries at the same time while I was doing shows. And
Mm,
um, that's when, like you said, I started creating from a shallower level because
mm,
I needed to give them something. And probably a couple of months into that, I said, I can't do it. I pulled out of all the galleries. And because when I work, you can see the difference between the purges that I do that are from, for healing, and the
hmm.
ones that I was creating for them because they needed something to put on the wall, and I was
Right.
needing to feed that machine. And my husband's like, no, 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 what you doing? Like, it's making you money. Stay in the gallery. And I'm like, no, this isn't. That's not my. I'm not being authentic anymore. I was still, still purging what I was feeling, but it was just the shallower side, and it was more for, let's get something to the galleries. So, so what motivates me? It is the need to purge it out so it doesn't get stuck and create an energetic block, because we all know energetic blocks create stress creates physical illnesses, and so I don't want to do it. So I even if it's sketching on copy paper, if I'm not
Right.
around. I don't have my sketchbook with me, but I create so much. I pretty much purge every day. So when I do festivals, I have these huge 4 bins, print bins, of prints with me, and people always comment like, "You do so much," and I'm thinking, I only show you half because I don't even have the vehicle to show you more, because I can only fit 4 bins in my booth. But I have a lot, and I decide. So I'll purge, and then I'll decide: do I want to share this one with the public, or is it something not as universal? Maybe not as many people would connect to it, so maybe it's not as important. So I leave it in my sketchbook. But I have if I ever pass on, Chris, my husband, is going to have uh, a lot of pieces to go through. I don't
Oh
know.
my goodness. Well,
I
well,
don't know.
let's not go there, but I understand. So yes, that's wonderful. And thank you for sharing that story too, because artists, I know that when it's in their heart, it's not something they can just crank out. It's not authentic,
Yeah,
and it's not.
yeah,
It doesn't sing to them anymore. And if that's the case, then it's why are you doing it? The whole thing is for something to create and something to
yes.
express your soul. And is that the most rewarding thing about being a creative? My question is basically, what do you find most rewarding about being creative?
For me personally, it's the connection that I get from to my tribe. As I said, growing up, I didn't have many friends, and so I always felt alone. And so people looking at my work and they find themselves in my work, um, connect. So it's a natural connection to me and me to them, because now I'm seeing
Mm,
myself in them. I have a tribe, I've found a tribe. Also, I would say communication. Um, I Verbal expression is challenging for me, and so I get lost in my concepts. I get lost in where I'm going with what I'm saying. It's hard for me to focus. And so I'm very messy, as you can all see right now, with how I express myself verbally. But when I'm communicating through art, it's very clean, very to the point, and it's very simplistic, even though I'm communicating these complex emotions and,
Right. Yes.
situations.
Yes. I could see where it's speaking for you on your behalf.
Mhm,
Yeah. Those are
mhm.
your words, is your art.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes. And
that would
I
be,
feel like
go ahead.
I feel like when I speak, um, I don't express really what's inside me, the wisdom that's inside me. I sound oh, and so sometimes it's a lot for people to sit through a conversation with me because I'm just like, squirrel, and I change subjects and topics and stuff. But when I draw, they understand exactly not only me, but they understand themselves. And
Right.
that's, yeah.
That's the key right there, the connection. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I could
Mhm.
see that. Well, that being said, then describe how art is important to society.
Okay. I feel like art, I'm just going to speak from what my experience has been. When I engage in art or any creative process, I feel filled with love. I feel like
Mm,
I lose track of time. Time goes by. I feel like I almost um, get transported to like a different dimension where time doesn't exist. And, I start working on something and it's in the morning and I'm finished and it's 7 o'clock at night. Like I forgot to eat, I forgot to drink. And I feel like that's we need more of that because in this world we're constantly in a rush. We're constantly unhappy. We're angry, and so to be in that, to go into that space, it refills us. Um,
mm.
um, it connects us to each other.
Yes, absolutely. It quiets the mind, and
Mhm,
it enables us to be connected to the creative, because we're all creative. We're all born
mhm.
creatives. We just,
Yes.
society unfortunately suppresses it because we all are
Mhm,
taught to conform. And conformity,
mhm,
of course, is the opposite of creativity,
mhm,
right? Everything
mhm.
the same, follow the leader, draw
Yes,
or color in the lines,
yes.
because when we're
And you're not
children,
thinking,
right?
go ahead.
Yes, exactly. You're just creating and you're having fun and yeah, you're connecting. So
And
I
you're
could
not
see
thinking
that.
for yourself if you're creating, you're you're thinking for yourself. You're thinking out of the box. Whereas they're trying to put us in a place where we're not thinking for ourselves. They're telling us what to think, where, what to get, what to, anything. But I
Right.
think creativity gets you out of it.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It definitely does. And that's I think why the time just disappears, because it connects you with something. So, what's if you do have something on your artist wish list? Do you have a dream project that you would like to do? Do you have a commission? Would you like to teach, or are you pretty much doing what you love to do right now? Do you have a something on a wish list that you would love to do?
I think I'm pretty content with doing art shows for now. I think one day I can see maybe teaching. I do a lot of, so I'm a spiritual person, and I do just recently, maybe the last 6 months, I've been um, working with spirituality and my art. So I do a lot of like blessing of the water that I use um, for my paintings. I'm starting to create my own paints. And so it's for
Mm,
healing. So maybe I see myself maybe one day, teaching that how to, you know, uh, I call them. healing codes, but I don't know if that's, I'm not sure. But that's what I call it. But I could maybe see myself teaching how to bless the water, how to connect with God and Mother Earth, um, and do these ceremonial things before you create a piece, in honor of your health or in honor whatever the intention is for you. So that would be cool. But I would really really love for Sax and I to saturate the world with our message, and with our healings. I feel like, right now I'm known here in the Southwest and a little bit. I was in a gallery in Massachusetts, so a little bit up there. But I hope that we one day are big enough to touch other people and spread that word, that message, that acceptance, self-acceptance is so important, and self-love is so important. And to get there, it's like there's a love, self-love umbrella, and under that umbrella we have all of these, anger and fears and depression and anxiety, and we have to clear it. We have to clear it
Mm.
all to get to that self-love. And like when and how wonderful would it be if, people started, if we could help people get to that point where you start cultivating that self-love, and um, and people would live from that perspective, self-love perspective. There would be no jealousy, there would be no hate, there would be no, because when there's love, you're not, jealousy is because you feel, less than, or you feel threatened. When you have self-love, there's no negative, nothing to it. So so you're living from that perfect, um,
That perfect feeling,
love
that perfect
from it.
vibration.
Yes, yes.
Yes, that perfect energy. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes,
That
because
would be so
we
beautiful.
yes, absolutely. Well, let's get working on that. That would be
Let's
beautiful
do it.
for sure. Yeah, let's do it. So, you've been in business for a while, Carolina. Is there any advice that you would like to share with an emerging artist? Some of the trials and tribulations, maybe some of the things to do, not to do?
I get that question a lot when I do, art festivals. I get emerging artists,
Mm,
coming and wanting advice. And so my biggest advice would be create from a space of truth and love. That's how you'll find your style and
hmm.
your purpose in life. If you get tangled up in what people want from you or what is trending at the moment, you're going to lose yourself, and you'll float further away from, your purpose. So,
Mm,
inspiration is fantastic, but don't try to, um, mm, copy someone's, style, because it's not, we all have a style inside of us, and so you're
hmm.
not going to get to that style, um, if you're going with the trend, or you love someone's work and you're trying to kind of imitate that. So yeah, just trust and, or truth and love.
Right. Stay true to who you are. It
Hmm.
goes back to a saying that I love, and I repeat it often. It's Rumi, who is an ancient philosopher, and he says, "Who you seek is seeking you." So when you are
Yes, I
authentic
love.
with yourself, right,
Yes.
they will find you because they
Yes.
are seeking you, but not if you're
Yeah.
inauthentic, because then that's not who they are seeking. So yes,
Yes.
that
It's a different energy, so you'll never
yes.
meet up. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the frequencies. I often say we're like broadcasting towers, radio
Hmm.
stations. And when our frequency goes out there, it is connecting every moment of every day. It is connecting with something in the universe. And that
Mm-hmm.
frequency is being brought back to you for good or for bad.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
and yes, and so, when you understand that that's how we exist in this world,
Mm-hmm.
according to quantum physics, which I completely believe that we are an energy
Oh.
source, then,
Mm-hmm.
when you say that, you're so right on. You say be authentic to who you are, because that is going
Mm-hmm.
to emit the frequency to attract those who are looking for you, because they're on the
Yes.
same frequency, right? Like a radio dial.
And
So
yes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and like you said, there's people out there who are waiting for your work because of
yes.
healing, because of, so you're doing the world a disservice if you, and it's so easy to get lost in today's, you
Mm,
know, follow the trend.
mhm.
This is, the thing you should be doing. It's so easy. So just hunker down and trust yourself, trust God that, it knows what is your path, what is good for you, and just, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. So tell us about your reflection cards. I love these cards, and I have both sets, and I think they are wonderful. So share with our audience, because Carolina has so many different ways to enjoy her art, and the reflection cards are one of my favorites. So just tell our
Thank,
audience about them.
thank you. I will show you. So these are the reflection cards. Um,
Beautiful.
they are, you know what? I'm gonna read this to you because I have a
Okay.
little card that comes with it. 28 reflection cards for mindfulness, meditation, and therapy. This self reflection deck is designed for daily introspection. 28 thought provoking images designed to deepen self growth and gain insight into oneself through mindful exploration. Each card contains beautiful artwork along with a caption. These cards can be utilized by mental health professionals in individual or in group sessions for personal growth, or given as a gift to someone struggling to find their value. In addition, they can be used for affirmation or reflection, which reminds us to take the time to explore our feelings, beliefs, and behaviors.
Mm, beautiful. I love them. And we'll have all the information on the Epic Vision Zone bio pages, but these make a beautiful gift. And like I said, I have both sets because there are two different sets. I think you've got to get making a third set because you've got so many new drawings. Um, but yes,
Yeah.
they're just beautiful pieces of art in a very convenient way. And like Carolina says, you can pull one a day and just see what it's saying, and also just remind yourself of what it is that you're feeling today, or what the day might bring into your life. So I
Mhm.
love these cards, and what a great way to share more of your art. Seriously, because the paintings are beautiful, but such a clever idea, because you have so many pieces of art and so many beautiful sayings that go with it. So that being the case, you also have another method to
Mhm.
share your art, which are your books. And
Mhm.
Carolina has published two books. And give us, what was the inspiration for these books? And can you tell people what to expect when you open them up?
So I have been asked by my followers, by my clients or customers to create a book for years. And I never had the time with, being at galleries, doing shows. I never had the time to do a book. And I wasn't really interested in creating a product um, of my art. And then COVID happened in 2020.
Mm,
And this little voice in my head said, this is the time. We're going to create book number one. Um,
mm,
And I thought, book number one, that implies there's others, but I didn't really think much about it. And so a few months later, I started working on, putting a book together. So my first book came out in 2020. And then early this year, I came out with my second book. And it's a compilation of a collection of my artworks. Um, the first one is my artworks, the most important artworks up to the 2020 date to me. And I love that book. I'm so proud of that first book. It taught me so much about myself. So I don't like commitments. I don't like schedules. They scare me. I'm very go with the flow, like, and that book showed me that if something's really important, I will stick to that. The strength, even the research. I'm not a big research person. Again, I go with the flow, and research is more of a left brain activity, and so I don't like being up here. And so it pushed me into it, and it showed me um, how what's the word? Mm,
You can grow.
yeah, how I can grow and how sure, let's use grow. I mean, it grew me so
You have
much.
the
It grew me,
how it shows you that you have the capabilities to expand
yes,
once you
yes,
step
thank you.
into a purposeful project that you know needs to get done, because the purpose
Yes,
is greater than the fear or the
yes,
the not wanting to. Yes, when the purpose is greater than the fear, then you step into
yes.
your
And I
calling.
would never have, yes, and I would never have discovered that if it wasn't for that book. I mean, I didn't know anything about, publishing a book, about printing a book, about margins, how you set up margins. And, it was an intense, I think it took me half a year to finish it, an intense, everyday commitment, which again scared me. But I just loved that book so much. Book number two was a lot easier because I've already figured all that out. And that houses a collection of works from 2020 to 2024. So in that span of 4 years. And I was a little worried that I may not have enough work for that book because the book is about 80, 90 pages, I think. And I had so much that I had to eliminate because I'm like, I can't make this book thicker than, 100 pages. So it's shocking. Sometimes it's shocking. I know that I produce so much, but sometimes it's shocking how much.
That's great to shock yourself, isn't it? Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. And here you're worried that you don't have enough. It's just incredible. I mean, it's great to surprise ourselves. I mean, we're all much more than we think. I recently had a call
Yeah.
with a lot of ladies, and they were all saying about taking time out, but then they'd be pulling away from their job, and I said, "Okay, can I just tell you something? What if you looked at time out from a different perspective? When you're under stress, when you're depressed, or you've got anxiety because you're working up against the clock and you've been working yourself, you're not at your premium. So what if taking time for yourself was not considered a luxury, but part of your way of doing the best work possible? Because we all
Mm,
need to recharge. And if we don't plug
mm.
that battery in, we are going to run on empty. So
And you
taking
have
time
nothing to
out,
give.
exactly, taking time out is not a luxury or whatever, however you want to call it. It is a necessity in order to provide those who are looking for you, those that you are serving, the best possible you.
Mm.
Otherwise, there won't be anything there for them. right?
I love your wisdom so much. I don't know if you remember, not too long ago, I was going through not not the best, not the greatest time, and you called me and you gave me this wisdom where you pulled me out, even though I know, like, we really need each other all the time.
Yes.
Um, but you pulled out this wisdom, and it clicked in my head. And so it, as soon as it clicked in my head, it took me out of that, um,
Mm,
those dumps, the sticky and icky feeling, because I
mm-hmm.
was going through some stagnation. And you're like, Carolina, no. And you gave me your wisdom, and I'm like, oh my God, we need it. It was so needed. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. You're very welcome. Well, tell our audience then where they can connect with you so that they can discover some of your beautiful work. And again, we'll have these all on the pages for everyone.
Okay. So I only have Instagram. I do have Facebook. I don't visit it very often. Um, but my Instagram account is Karolina with a K, Karolina dot Adams, Adams. That's my handle. Or you can visit my website at carolinaadams.com.
Okay,
Very easy,
wonderful.
Carolina Adams.
Yes, and you'll get lost in her pages because you just can't stop yourself reading all the beautiful work. So, if there was
Thank you.
one message, Carolina, that you could share with the world, what would it be?
So can I give you a quote? Because I love this quote so much, and it
Yeah.
speaks to what I do and what I believe. But it's by Oscar Wilde,
Mm.
and it says, "Be yourself, as everyone else is already taken."
Oh,
So it
yes.
speaks to that self-love, self-acceptance, and how beautiful we are no matter what.
Yes. Yes.
One
I love
in
that
one,
quote.
yeah. Do you know it?
Yes, I've read it before. It's fabulous. I love it because everyone else is
Yeah.
taken. It's like so
Yeah,
perfect.
it's funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
almost
is.
humorous. Like my work is a little. That's why I think I'm drawn to it.
Yeah,
I love it, and I use it everywhere I can. Like if there's a chance for me to use it, I'm like, there it is.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great quote. And because we're here on the Epic Vision Zone, I have one last question. If your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
Um, self getting back to myself. I don't know. I'm bad
Mm.
at this. I don't know.
No, that's good. Getting back to myself. I love that. Absolutely.
I
That's
I have
perfect.
gone if you we only known each other for a few years, but if you knew me before, I was so shy, I was so closed up, I was so. And so doing this work, showing my work, and people reacting to it, um, is what opened me up, and what how much self-love I have right now for myself, and self-belief and self-acceptance. God, I'm such a different human being from like even 7 years ago.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful. I'm so happy to hear that because really in sharing, we grow, and
Mm-hmm.
we're all here
Oh,
to learn and grow. Absolutely.
mhm.
It's wonderful. And thank you so much for sharing everything with us. And
Yeah.
once again, you can access all of Carolina's information on the Epic Vision Zone pages, where you'll find her social media and her direct contact information. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath. And don't forget to connect with me at janeapplegath.com, where you can get access to your free downloads, the Creative Power and Vision Play Sheet. Sending you so much love and gratitude. This is the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dreams into epic success.